MPL presents Cricbuzz live at the halfway stage of the Mohali game between the Kings 11 Punjab and the Mumbai Indians. And the first order of business, as always in this mid-show, is to gloat about the MPL Super Couch, which, as you can see, does not belong to me, even though I was mighty close. It just needed another 4 runs, and I was there. So the gentleman who wins it is Joy Bhattacharjya. Well done, Joy!
I'm just delighted that a former person, a KKR bowler, got it for me. Mohammad Shami's played very well for Bengal and for KKR, and I was delighted that he managed to bowl that last over, because I didn't think I was in the game till that last over was bowled and that catch was taken at the boundary line. I didn't think I was in play.
Yes, as always, there was a bit of fighting going on between the MPL Super Couch was going from there to here and back to there again, but get Michael Vaughan in. Never mind about the predictions, but the fact is Mumbai will reckon that they are a few runs short of what they would have wanted at the halfway stage particularly.
Yeah, they came out of the traps and got off to a flyer with some beautiful play by Rohit Sharma and Quinton de Kock. And, you know, when you get that foundation early, you start thinking 200, 215. You know, full credit to Ravi Ashwin. He started to realise that his bowlers need to bowl a bit straighter, take pace off the ball. The spinners did a good job, only going for 51 in the 8 overs between them. You look at Mumbai, and yeah, they could have got a few more runs, but with the bowling attack that they've got, with the likes of Bumrah, you know, Malinga, you've got plenty of Markandi, you've got lots of options. I still think Rohit Sharma will fancy defending it.
And there was a point you made during our Cricbuzz Combox at the halfway stage, was that one advantage Mumbai will have is being able to assess the mistakes that the Punjab bowlers made when they come out to defend.
Yeah, and I think that's sometimes, you know, you don't really hear it mentioned in T20 cricket, that when you bat first, sometimes you can get an indication of what the pitch is doing, what balls are hardest to hit, which parts of the ground are, you know, the best to try and defend. And maybe Mumbai will have an edge. I think the key will be if the dew just starts to fall and it just becomes a little bit greasy. If it starts to get greasy and the ball can be timed that little bit easier, well, you'd fancy that the Kings will fancy chasing down the target. But when you've got Bumrah, Malinga and co, I'd back those kind of bowlers to defend any kind of total.
Yeah, but being a day game, would reckon that may not be too much of a factor.
It may not be as much of a factor as it normally. Here this is famous for dew and it's famous for insects. You get a lot of insects, a lot of them, and seriously, I mean, they go all over the place. So, in the fact that, you know, those two factors will not be so much in play, because it's really, you know, it's not going to be that late. The interesting thing is, I completely agree with him in the sense that, you know, this is the kind of total that they should defend, Gibson. But what was very interesting is how Mike hasn't played it with his team. And, you know, there was this interview in the middle of the game where he actually clearly said that we've told them that it's a belter, however much you can bring it back, the better it is. So the bowlers also bowled with a certain amount of freedom. And it's all about playing. The same bowler might have gone for runs or not gone for runs. But if he thinks that coach is saying, you know, this is a really tough track to bowl on, but do your best anyway, you know, he also bowls a bit more freely, if you know what I mean. So I think he's played it intelligently, and he sort of laid the ground for telling people that, you know, 200 is a pass go out here. So he's played all the right psychological games now. Of course, it's got to be played in the
But
field.
the point is, a counterpoint to that is, he said the right things, but some of the quicker bowlers weren't listening, because one of the points he made was that do not give the wrong lines, do not give the width, and there were times when they were giving width.
Yeah, I mean, again, sometimes in T20 cricket, you know, you do advise the bowlers to go wide. You try and get it just inside the guidelines, try and get the batsman just stretching. That's more towards the end of the innings. Early on, you know, when you're looking at that first 6 overs in particular, you've got to try and tighten it up. You've got to try and restrict the batsman from just freeing up the arms, because, you know, a free hit around the first 6, an edge is going to go for 4 because of the 2 fielders just outside the circle. So I think Kings will be happy. I think they'll be happy from where they were, halfway stage. I think they'll be happy to only have to chase this kind of total. It'll come down to Universe Boss, KL Rahul at the top of the order.
Yeah. But just have a look at that for a moment. It tells the story, even if you're not an expert, it just says it right there. Often we say a scorecard doesn't tell the story. Here it does.
Pace off, bit of spin. Isn't that the story of T20 cricket over the last 10 years?
Yeah, absolutely.
Spin to win.
You know, the other interesting thing is what I love about especially the IPL is it does something that very few other international competitions do, which is that players go from the top to the bottom. So in 2016, Murugan Ashwin was bought by, I think it was at that point in time, the rising Pune Super Giants for 4.5 crores. Okay. And then he does nothing with them or doesn't do very much with them. He comes back, and this year he's come in for 20 lakhs, which is literally the base price he's come in. He's got his way into the side. So, the funny thing about the IPL is it's really a dizzying roller coaster for players, both in terms of performance and in terms of price. You keep going up, down, suddenly you're the flavour of the season, suddenly, that's Murugan Ashwin. There's Varun Chakravarti sitting in the hutch, supposedly injured. We don't know whether he's really injured or not, who's just got 8.4 crores. He's got $1 million for not playing.
Yeah, I like the way you were very accurate there. Because of the year, you said super giants before they lost the S the following year, and their fortunes went upwards. Yeah. But again, if you look at the comparison of the two sides, I mean, we talked about the quicker bowlers, the relatively less experienced quicker bowlers from the Punjab side. But even if you say pace off the ball, you've got quality quicker bowlers in Malinga and Bumrah to add to what Markandeya and Krunal Pandya will offer.
Yeah, and I think when you look at someone like Bumrah, he's got that skill of being able to bowl quick. He's got the ability to move the ball. He's got the ability to change angle. He's got an awkward action to pick up as a batsman anyway, and he's also got great variations with that slow ball, particularly off cut when he generally reads the batsman. He throws it wide now and again, then he'll come a bit straight. He'll bowl into the wicket. He's got the slow ball bouncer. So when you're looking at a seam bowler in this era compared to what we used to talk in white ball cricket, you've got to have every single trick in the box covered. But I do always look at the spinners that play such a prominent role in a lot of the white ball game, and I'm always amazed that coaches don't go in with more spinners. We always talk spin to win, particularly in T20 cricket, yet coaches and teams generally always settle with the 3 seamers, 2 spinners. I've always thought, why don't you go with a couple more spinners and just use the 1 seamer, or maybe 1 seamer and an all-rounder? Yeah. Why go with all these quicks all the time when it's clear? And the stats tell you that that is the one stat I will look at. Stats of the last few years, it's been quite obvious that spin play the real key role in winning games of cricket in T20 cricket.
But the other number that we did see at the beginning was the chasing stats, the 44 as opposed to the 60s for some of the other grounds. And when you look at this particular total, how do you assess that figure vis-a-vis the bowling attack that Mumbai have?
Look, I think.
And could I add one more factor to that? The over-reliance on a Gale and a Rahul.
I think that's it. It boils down to that, and don't be surprised if Mumbai throw the ball to a spinner early, and may not be the left arm because Gale will favour the left arm, but to expect Mayank Markandeya maybe to get a ball in the first 6. They're just going to, because he is definitely key, and he takes a little bit of time to settle, so he'll need Rahul to take the pressure off in the first 7, 8, 10 deliveries while he settles down. Once he settles, he can be very dangerous. They have to see him off. So they'll use their best bowler against him, probably Bumrah, and they might try spin against him. They know that once you get into that middle order of Punjab, it looks a lot more vulnerable this side. And because the fact that they don't have too many what you call bona fide all-rounders. So if you look at this thing from Wilhoen, Ashwin, Tai, Shami, Murugan. Ashwin, that's a fairly long tail. It's not really, there are lots of teams that bat up to 8. I mean, Rashid Khan was batting at 8 for SRHs.
The end factor is what I am looking at in the middle order. That will be key for them. Mayank, Mandeep, Miller. These 3 guys have taken step up, assuming Gale and Rahul do the job for them. And then you've got little Safraz who can do his little trickery.
Well, there's enough there. There's enough there in the batting department to chase down the total. But, I just look at the key battle at the top. Bumrah versus the universe boss. I'm sure he'll go hard, I'm sure he'll go short, go aggressive. I'd be very interested to see how the universe boss kind of combats that different angle of what Bumrah produces and also the extra bit of pace that he can produce.
There's 2 sides of him that we've started seeing. I mean, for the longest time off late, he was like, I need 10 balls, 15 balls to get set. But if he sees a slightly larger total up in front of him, like he did the other day, maybe he'll change his mind.
My sense is, you're right, he probably won't take him on now. I mean, he'll just take a single, he'll go off to the other end. He will not take Bumrah on because he knows that Bumrah can bowl a maximum of 2 in the beginning. They need Bumrah, probably 1 in the middle, 1 in the end. So if you can somehow not really be tempted by Bumrah and somehow see Bumrah out, he's willing to take a chance because at this kind of rate, he backs himself to get 10, 12, 15, when he's really in form. So he might not take him.
He'll target the spin. He'll wait for Markandeya, wait for Krunal Pandya. And if they come on, they're the overs that he will fancy getting the 15s and 20s off. And at the start, if he's only getting it, I guess, 6 to 8s, he's got all the experience to realise that he can catch up later.
One more player we talk about before we wrap up here, and that's Quinton de Kock. We know he's got a couple of keepers nipping at the heels in that lineup, and he's an overseas player, so he's got to hang on to that spot, and he didn't do his chances any harm there.
No, he played nicely. He timed it beautifully, hit a couple of 6s, 6 4s. forced through the onside where you had mid-wicket on the boundary and long on back, and he just managed to squeeze it in between them with pure timing. He's a good player. You know, we've seen it for a few years now that he's just got the gift and the natural ability to play the game. One of the question marks over Quinton has been the way that he thinks about the game. You know, sometimes he makes the wrong decisions. I thought he played the key role today, because as soon as you lose Rohit Sharma and then you lose another one in Yana very quickly, your pressure's even more so, because you know that you've got to step up and continue to get the scoreboard ticking, and his tempo was absolutely spot on today.
Yes, just about time here on MPL Presents Cricbuzz Live to get a prediction, because at the moment the couch belongs to Joy Bhattacharjya, the MPL super couch. But will it change hands at the end of this game? The pressure is on you, the onus is on you to go first, either if you figure that it's going to be chased down when, or if not.
I think it's going to be chased down. I think they'll get it in 18.
Get it in 18? Well, I'm going the opposite. I'm going for Mumbai innings.
By
7.
By 7?
By
okay,
7.
I'm on Michael's side, but I'm going to go for a few more runs. Once again, I'm applying the formula, go hard at the top and then sort of lose their way in the middle, so they'll fall about 15 runs short for me. 7 runs short, and Joy says that they're going to go ahead and chase. So it's going to be a very, very spicy show when we come. But of course, we will be able to assess where we stand in the 10th over with Cricbuzz Combox. We'll see you then.